Hi there. So I'm David Taylor. I'm a director of IAB.
And I'm Sarah Palmer, the CEO.
Excellent. And this is the latest in our series of videos, which I hope you're enjoying. You can find them all on the IAB YouTube channel, where we're talking about a range of different topics. And today's topic is technology.
Technology, yes. We're able to be outside today.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is quite lovely. It's not raining for a moment.
And we're using a new gizmo, which I've bought. So I'm hoping that this is going to come across very nicely for you when you're watching it later on. So Sarah, you're I guess a self-avowed Luddite when it comes to technology, or you've been sort of drag kicking and screaming. What's been your experience of technology?
I suppose I have a natural reluctance to adopt that technology, very opposite to you. However, with my business, there's no way. You cannot operate a business now without being totally immersed in that technology. It's impossible to do so. But actually, when you do make that step as such, there is some really cool piece of software out there now, and they can really give you so much insight and add so much value to not only your business but that explanation and advisory piece to your clients too. I do think there's a concern about there being so many pieces of tech or software on the market now that you can get drawn away from your purpose as such.
Right.
So, there's that magpie syndrome going on,
It's
saying,
a shiny new bit of tech.
Oh,
I must have that.
And
yeah.
then you lose sight of what you're actually trying to achieve in your business. So I suppose maybe that slight reluctance to adopt the tech is maybe stop and think about what I'm actually trying to achieve. So for instance, I deliberately made my practice a Xero practice out of choice before, but because I wanted to be a master of one software rather than a jack of all trades. And then I used that decision and that piece of software then to build out my tech stack around that. There's actually, I will recommend, there's the App Advisory store as well, or App Advisory Plus, I think is their website.
Right.
But they're really useful resource there as well. So if you that really shows you how you can build your tech stack, and so that you're not duplicating tasks, but also duplicating costs.
That's really
so
interesting.
You want to be as efficient as you can be with the softwares that you choose.
I think that's some really valuable information. I don't think I've really heard that before, and I love this idea about magpie. It's like you're grabbing any new bit of software and you think, oh, I must do that and I must get that. But what you're saying is there needs to be a coherent plan about what you're using, and it needs to be integrated, I think, with your business and what works for you and your practice.
Yeah, so you want to think about the outcome you're trying to achieve and then find the solution that matches that, rather than be led by, all the software can do that, so I'm now going to go off on a tangent. So
That's interesting. So again, a lot of people who are watching this will have different size practices, and some might be just starting out, some might be sole traders, and some might be sort of moving up into sort of larger organizations. Do you think tech is applicable to any business at any level, or do you think it's limited to a certain type of business?
No, I go back to my original thought. You just need to have what's appropriate for your size business. You don't want to bring on too many overheads, but there is definitely a need. So if I'll go to AML Complete as an example. So even when you're in startup mode, you have got to be compliant with AML regulations. So a piece of software such as AML Complete will assist you in that. So that's essential on day one. You need to be familiar with whichever accounting software that you're going to align with.
In your case, Xero.
We've got Quick Stage. There's some really good products on the market now as well, and because that is fundamentally what you're providing. That is your service. So you need to be good at that.
So you did a talk at Accountex.
I did, yes.
Last week, which was incredibly well received. I think standing room only, which was fantastic. And you did a fantastic, really very interesting talk. And you're talking about how you grow your practice from a startup through the different stages until you get to the ideal stage for many, which would be either that you are a successful sole practitioner, or you have a lovely business where you claim an income, but you're not actually working in the business.
The talk I gave last week at Accountex was about growing your practice and addressing some of the challenges that you the growth pains really as
Right.
you travel through that pathway. And I suppose a bit I touched on, but we could probably talk about more here, is how technology can support each part of those as you grow. So as you want to start to increase revenue, obviously the advisory services are important, and there's fabulous softwares, like Fathom and that can actually really support that and
Yep.
can elevate your charge out rate and increase the revenue into your practice. And then as you become an employer, then there's going to be some more internal data that you need, such as Breathe HR, that will help you manage your
Yep. The staff
staff.
and the people
There's
within the business.
Yeah, so there's different tech that you'll need at different stages. But what I was also trying to explain was not to bring in too many overheads too soon,
Right.
because you need to save your cash, if you like, to manage your paying wages and
Yes.
other.
No, obviously.
So while you need that tech, it has to be balanced with cost, I suppose.
It's interesting, and I think in a way, tech is unavoidable now, whatever stage of your business you're at. And we're talking about, I guess, the valuable side of tech and how it can make you more nimble and agile and more profitable and able to grow. There is obviously a dark side to tech as well. And do you want to talk a bit through about some of the pitfalls and what you've got to be aware of and why technology is so
Yeah.
important?
So while the tech can advance your business, I think you need to be very clear about the responsibility you have around maintaining your data and security, IT security as well. So I would absolutely say that the ICO, who is is the regulator for data, is a hard hitter
Right.
and should not be ignored.
Right.
So while you're using that data, you have to be very, very conscious about how you're using that data, whether you're asking questions that are going to be for a purpose, and you're going to be able to develop or have an outcome from it.
Yep.
As such, you're not
just generating data for the
random
sake
data.
of
Exactly.
creating data.
But that security around the data is very important too. So that's also when you're choosing which software or app to use, that's definitely a question you need to be sure of the answer to as well. But David, you spend a lot of time in our organisation managing that data and responsibility for that as well.
Absolutely, and I think any organisation now is going to be data driven, and therefore the data you are creating internally, you obviously need to have an action plan for that. But also, as you said, you're going to be there's a lot of data externally as well, client data. Clearly, that's where AML comes in as well. But also, if you want to grow your practice, it's going to be marketing data. So, market intelligence and understanding how you're going to grow with the data you need. So, for example, if you wanted to do a paid media campaign, you need data to understand how you're going to run that campaign. And as you said earlier, you're not just going to throw some money at it and hope it will work. It's about having proper data. So, I think the message we're conveying today is it's got to be used intelligently.
Yes.
You don't just pick up a piece of software. Oh, that looks fun. You don't create data and saying, oh well, I don't know what I'm doing with it, and I don't know if it's safe or not, or I'm producing data and I'm not really making the most of it. It's about having an intelligent view on what data is, but equally with the technology as well. So in terms of what we as an organisation are doing, I think you've mentioned some of the member benefits already. What would your advice be around some of these member benefits?
Well, first and foremost, no member benefit goes forward without me having to take it apart.
Yep.
So that's one of the criteria.
Yes.
So, and I think our member benefits have been selectively chosen according to the benefit that they can bring.
Yep.
And we obviously look at the security side of things. So we do pull those softwares apart before they get accredited by us.
Right.
Is the point. But also, I suppose the other thing to mention is that we can't ignore tech now as well, and we have a government that's driving digitalisation. Can't even speak, speak now. So with the introduction of MTD, and there's an awful lot of legislation around pushing us into that space. So
That's a
very,
very
it can't
point,
be something that we ignore at all.
No, I think it's such an obvious point which needs to be made, is that almost all businesses are going to be mandated through the tax system to provide quarterly returns digitally, and they are your clients.
Yeah.
And therefore, part of your role will be to ensure that they are educated and they are using the technology. So you have to be using the technology.
We do, because HMRC are also very reliant on us passing that message on as well. So part of their strategy is not only to go direct to the business owner, but actually use finance professionals to enhance that message as well.
Right.
So we're very key in that message.
So finance professionals are essentially the tech ambassadors for the government.
They are, yes.
So that's an important role to have. So we've talked about a little bit about the software. What else is the IAB doing for our members in terms of adoption of technology? I know we talk about it at coffee mornings. We're obviously looking at courses. We've got AML Complete, which is, of course, is our own tech platform, which we've created ourselves.
Yes.
So what what would your message be for members who may be slightly frightened of the technology?
I think it's approach it in the way we tend to have an analytical mindset. Anyone that works in this space, and we tend to be slightly suspicious.
Yes.
And but I actually think these are really good qualities, because we do need to investigate and be eyes wide open about what we're doing. But absolutely, it's a journey we're all on. I don't think it's something to be frightened of. I do think it needs to be taken seriously. And there is that, there's a benefit, there's a cost, and there's obviously a responsibility around the data. So once you're happy with those, then
right, that's some really good advice. And of course, we've got a huge amount of resources. We know I know that the Kroner Eye member benefit, and there's some great information on there, which is the daily update on Accountancy Daily. We've got the coffee mornings, where we will be discussing a lot of the issues around the tech and the use of tech. We've got the ambassador groups. We've got our website with a huge amount of resources. But I think it's a very valid point you made, which is that a finance professional will take a look analytically at something, and I think that they will be looking analytically at technology and saying, well, what value is it to me? And I think we've talked about a lot of very, very interesting points today. I guess this is a topic we're going to be coming back to again and again in the future.
It weaves its way through everything that we're all doing these days.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time as ever, and look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you.